of Lent to you, our Take Two family. Second day, we're underway. I love it. Lent is going really well. We hope for all of you. We hope it's a blessed and holy Lent and you enter deeply into your faith. And it's just an amazing time of the liturgical year. So, but on Take Two, Jerry, we have new topics each and every weekday. We're super excited about this one because I believe, Mr. Usher, you put this on the calendar. Am I correct?
Well, I put it on the calendar, but it was suggested by EWTN radio program director Tom Price.
Nice.
So you see, we're open to show topic suggestions from the Take Two family, listeners, from EWTN staff. Our producer, Michael, has given us a lot of ideas for shows. So don't ever hesitate to let us know what you think a good topic might be for the program.
That's true. So Tom Price suggested this. Would you like to share and do the introduction of it? Because I have a lot to say about this.
Well, really, he was basically saying, do you sometimes go down a rabbit trail when you're on the internet? Meaning you go to your computer, you're going to look something up, you look it up, you're kind of gathering information about it, and then maybe something distracts your attention, or you say, hey, while I'm here, maybe I'll look up something else over here. And pretty soon you've spent 2 hours online, and, it hasn't maybe been the best use of your time, but can also be, lead us into some dangerous areas on the internet as well. So we want to talk about, really, in a sense, your internet usage. Do you set time limits for yourself? Do you have filters? Do you find yourself just kind of wandering online? Because it's very easy to do. Very easy to do.
Yes, and so we want to hear your experience. Please call in and speak to Ryan. He's waiting to answer your call at 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. And because Tom Price suggested this, we want to make this a very, very robust discussion today. So please call in. Please make sure you have your voice heard about this internet usage. And may I please just comment on it, because this was the angle that I was, picking up about with the synopsis that you put on take2show.com, Jerry. I've gone on the internet searching for one specific item, right? Like I wanted to get something, or I wanted to research something, a little bit like a whole food supplement or something like that. The next thing I know, I was I was enrolled in a subscription that I was like paying for, that I didn't even realize I was paying for. Another time I was doing some, I love doing research on the internet. So I was on there, and the strangest thing happened. All of a sudden, my neighbors were getting emails from me, and they would open them up, and they were not a G-rated site. And so I actually had one of my neighbors call me, and they said, "I'm appalled." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And I had no idea. So they must have hacked in and done something. I don't know. So it's very scary, because you kind of go onto the internet with a very trusting spirit, only to find out that that's not the way it is a lot of times. What do you think?
Well, I think I agree with you. I want to give the phone number out as well. Those of you who are internet savvy, you can certainly weigh in on this topic. 833-288-EWTN. 833-288-3986. I've had that happen before too, with pop-ups, and pretty soon you've got a screen full of pop-up ads in front of you, and you're just like, it's dizzying almost. And there's also the issue of where if you do find what you're looking for, the site you're looking for, and maybe it's an article you're reading, and they always say, and so-and-so wrote an article, and you can see that one right here, and they highlight the hyperlink there, and you can click on that, and then in that thing you can click on something else, and pretty soon, again, you're just scratching your head saying, let's see, what did I come here to go on the internet for in the first place?
The next thing you know, you're on Mars, and you didn't even realize it. I just want to say thank you to all the Take Two family. You guys are so sweet. I'm getting a ton of text messages coming in saying, good job on Catholic Connection this morning. Sherry Brownrigg, our dear friend, was guest hosting for Teresa Tomeo. She's on vacation, which she deserves. And they had me on for one of the spots for Stand Tall on Catholic Connection. So we were talking about life coaching. And so I'm getting all these text messages from the Take Two family. Said, it was nice to hear you early this morning. Thank you,
cool.
You guys. You're so sweet.
Indeed. And you're so prompt about being part of this program every day, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. So again, we need you to weigh in and share your insights and maybe how you have sort of managed your time online. A lot of people will learn from you today. 833-288-3986. Again, we're talking about sometimes we go down these rabbit trails, as some people call them, online. And has that happened to you? Maybe you set some boundaries for yourself so that doesn't happen. We'd love to hear about that. 833-288-3986.
I heard something very disturbing on the news the other night that some senior citizens, they were going online to sign up for the vaccine, and it was a scam. They actually were told to do other stuff and go to their bank and do stuff, and so they were worried. They wanted to get the vaccine, so they did that, and they were a lot of money was stolen from them through these internet scams. So those are really a problem as well. I'm very cautious when I go on the internet. I've said this many times, folks. I think the internet is fabulous. It's right. Things are at your fingertips. You can research things, especially if you have a health issue and stuff like that, and all sorts of things to find out. It's just amazing. It's an online encyclopedia and everything. It has everything. But I also think it's a devil's playground. I think it can be used for really horrible things that can lead people down a path that it's hard to come back from, So I think people really have to be cautious. I'm cautious.
Yeah, well, you need to be. Like you said, it could be a gold mine or it could be a landmine, one of the two. And many of us find sometimes we're online and we go into each of those different areas. So again, as with everything, technology advances in science, medicine, technology, and all of that. God gives these to us as great gifts. But then we can kind of get in there and mess things up a little bit. And it doesn't have to be that way. We're not just talking about the negative today. We're talking about maybe you just find yourself, maybe you're a history buff and you go online and you look up something and pretty soon that leads you to something else and something else. And then you've spent all that time online. But see, it's a chance to learn, too. So this isn't just a negative angle program. It can be a positive one as well. 833-288-3986.
You are the king of words. I love that. It could be a gold mine or a landmine. Very
a wordsmith.
Cool. Yeah, wordsmith. That's right. Okay, please join us. Here's the number, 833-288-3986. We're talking about internet usage today. We want to hear about your experience. We'll be right back.
I'm Kimberly Hahn, and my new show, Beloved and Blessed, is now on EWTN Radio. Every week, I share scripture and my personal experience to speak to the desires and strengths of all women so that each of us can better live out our vocations as daughters of God. Tune in to find inspiration, hope, and strength in each episode.
Don't miss Beloved and Blessed with Kimberly Hahn. Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Only on EWTN Radio.
Father John Riccardo.
When the Word of God is proclaimed, and in a special way when the gospel is proclaimed, it's an event happening in our midst, which is calling forth from you and me very concretely today, as whatever it is that's going on in my life, I come to Mass, I hear the Word, and now I have to respond to it. Always, every time. Whatever it is, my response is called for. It's not just listening to someone read who then makes some comments. One of the best things that lay people can do on their way to Mass is pray that those of us who are going to preach will say something inspiring. If for no other reason, for your benefit. Pray for us. I know many of you do, but those of you who don't, pray for us. Pray that the Lord would open up our ears to hear what it is He wants to say to us, to communicate to you. Otherwise, you're going to sit through something really tedious, which none of us want to do.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
Good to have you with us, listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We'd love to hear your beautiful voice, sharing an insight on how you make use of the internet. If you find yourself having, just spending maybe more time on there than you would like to, maybe going down what we call one of these rabbit trails. 833-288-3986. Want to just give you a quick note that you can receive weekly emails from EWTN bookmark brief, including a short video blog that features the author of the book. Doug Keck has an author every week, features the author giving a short synopsis of their work in his or her own words. And so to get the EWTN bookmark brief email, just go to EWTN.com and click on subscribe. It's that easy.
Oh, okay. So we want to talk about the internet today. We need your help. So please fill up the phone lines. You always do. You do not have to be Catholic to call in. If you hear the sound of our voices, that means we consider you part of the Take Two family. This was suggested by Tom Price. When Tom suggests topics, we take them on, as the Take Two family always does. And so we need your help on this. 833-288-3986. Tell us the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. We want to hear everything. That's how we are. All details. We're all about the details here. 833-288-3986.
Well, it's that easy to get on the program. You can also go to take2show.com and post a comment there. You can also email us, take2@ewtn.com. And once again, we'll give a wave and a shout out to those of you watching the video stream on YouTube or Facebook. Please post your comments there, and those will get handed off to us as well. Yeah, I know this has happened to me, Debbie, and it's probably happened to you, probably to everybody who's listening right now. I'll just go on there and I want to look up a sports score real quick. Just going to spend about 2 minutes online looking up a sports score. And then they have, all along maybe the right side, they have all these other stories that you can click on and you say, wow, I wonder what that's about. Click. And then the same thing. I wonder what this is about, and then pretty soon I go, wow, I came over here to get a sports score and I just spent 30 minutes online.
and I bought 2 shirts and a couple shoes.
Exactly. I'm down $200 too.
$200, I know. A couple shoes, a pair of shoes, I should say. What am I talking about?
Couple shoes. Are they a match?
What can I say? It's the second day of Lent. Give me a break. I'm telling you, Lent's hard on me. It just really is. But this has been a great, we started, Marty and I, we have this really firm practice in place for Lent, just to let you know. We got the St. Michael prayer, morning and evening, doing the word among us, this prayer reflection, the Rosary, St. Joseph consecration. Anything else I can add on to that to make it a good Lent, Jerry? Let me know.
Yeah, you could read the Summa by St. Thomas Aquinas.
The Summa, yeah.
When you can't sleep at night.
I tell you. Okay, we have a couple open phone lines. Okay, enough of our banter back and forth. You don't want to hear. We should just do a fun show like that one time. Wouldn't that be fun?
What, with just bantering?
Well, I think we're pretty funny. I really do. I know a lot of people don't. No, I know. You guys think we're pretty funny, I think. 833-288-3986. We laugh at each other.
We do.
Right? We do. Yeah. We're like 2 kids, but you know what? That's good. We want to maintain that youthful spirit. Do you want to do that as well? And maybe the internet is something that you use in order to gather, necessary information that can help you along in life. And that is true. We want the internet to be something of good use in your life, right? But sometimes, like Jerry was saying, you can go down that rabbit trail and it is problematic on many levels. Maybe your kids have done that. Maybe your spouse. Let's talk about it. 833-288-3986.
All right, we're going to go to the phones now. Enough with me and Debbie. Let's see what you have to say about this. Danny in Lafayette, Louisiana, listening on Christ Our King Radio. Hi, Danny. Good to have you with us on Take Two. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. You guys asked for information and testimonies, and so I do have one for you.
Great.
I would say in a nutshell, the internet, it puts at your fingertips everything you want, be that good or be it bad. And it is up to us to be conscious of that, the fact that we have this tool for both great good and great bad right in front of us. Of course, I use the internet for pretty much every business transaction that I do in my business every day. But this is more about my personal experience with it. I found that my history with the internet started, with perusing different news articles. Okay, you could find articles about everything that's going on, and it gives you kind of a sense of control, like you know what's going on in the world at every minute. And yes, that can be a huge drain on time. It took away a lot of time of sleep for me. But that was a benefit. There was good information there. The second thing was that for people who are involved in like specialized hobbies, you get to get specialized information regarding those hobbies from communities of people all over the world. That's probably the single biggest point of beauty that I've experienced from the internet. But now let's open the door to stuff that isn't quite so uplifting. Lots of people deal with loneliness. Lots of people look for ways to connect with other people or to seek fulfillment. Okay, and of course, the one of the biggest negative aspects of internet is pornography, and I slipped into that realm back in 2008, and once again, it was anything you want, anytime you want, anywhere you want, and that's not a good thing for us because of our concupiscence. We can get lost pretty far down that rabbit hole, or down here in Louisiana, down the crawfish hole. But
right.
My personal experience was that I traded opportunities for true relationships with people, of all the good that could come of it, all the benefits that could come of it, and of course all the pain and the risk that could come of it. I traded that for something that I thought was more gratifying, safe, stable, and it turned out to be just filth. And so what I have, thank God, discovered is that, we have a choice. We don't have to carry around a supercomputer in our pockets, okay? I made that choice. I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just give this up. And so I gave up the smartphone, and I gave up internet in my house as well. I listened to the radio on the radio. I watched TV on TV. It has greatly simplified my life. It has created a lot more time. It has decreased anxiety because what maybe we need to be focusing on more than keeping our finger on every event that's going on in the world, maybe we need to try to take that finger and touch our souls a little bit, try to reconnect with ourselves a little bit, get acquainted with the world that is inside of us a little more, and that's where the change begins, as they say.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be surprised at how little I actually miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do miss it when I'm looking for a recipe. That's when I miss it the most. But I've certainly recognized that I'll be one of those people that will get themselves in trouble on social media, and so I made a point never really to delve into it. So I really don't miss it because I never was really on it. But it has made a tremendous amount of difference in my life. And I know that someone listening, they might get the seed of this idea. They might try it too, just maybe not realizing that they can. They do have the choice to say no to that stuff, to kind of put it down.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you what, Danny, you have really touched upon the absolute essence of what this conversation is about. And, I'm with you. I try to, limit my time online to, to a recipe or a sports score or something. But the thing is, you mentioned something, that made me think of intentional usage of the internet. We have to really, it's always there. I mean, there was a time when we had home phone landlines, and computers were these big, huge things that were used by the highest end corporations to conduct business. Now we can have a computer on our wrist, or I don't know. It's available to us all the time. And of course, its singular goal is to keep us connected, to keep us hooked. Why would they want us to leave? So Debbie, they're gonna create every possible thing that's gonna attract us, allure us, make it seem like it's something that we want to be a part of in order to keep us connected all the time. And of course, you mentioned the pornography, which used to be the seedy part of town with the guy in the trench coat and the hat, so he wouldn't be recognized slipping into some porn shop. But now it's it's just like you
Right
can
on
find
the
it as
internet.
easy as recipes. Yeah.
In the privacy of your own home. But is it really private? Because, everything's out there, and it's really scary. And Danny, hearing your experience, I just want to say thank you for stepping up and sharing it with so many, because there's thousands listening right now that this could really inspire them to say enough is enough. I'm turning off the internet, or I'm only going to go on the internet to find that one recipe, for 2 minutes, and I'm off the internet. And that's what really it should be. But it should be used for. Now, I understand for business, like you were saying, we have to use it for business. Jerry and I use it for our ministry. We use it for the radio show. Absolutely. And so that's a good use, because it's getting the word out that there's wonderful Catholic media. So that's fabulous. But when we're sitting at 10 o'clock at night with that screen time, and then it's going to 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and our lives are out of control because we've let the internet control us and take us to places where we can't remove those things. It's very hard to, because you end up getting addicted to it. It becomes a magnet. You just are drawn to it, and it's really problematic. And it takes a strong person to step up, like yourself, and say, enough, I'm done. I'm taking control of my life back. And that's a good thing. And during Lent, we should all be doing that. We should all be saying that. We're taking back our lives, and we're going back to what we know, how God created us in the image and likeness of God, and we are called to holiness. We are made for greatness, and God wants us to grow closer to Him. And the only way we're going to do that is to get back to a real sense of who we are, not that we're relating to a screen as a person. It's person to person, soul to soul. What do you think, Danny?
I think the risk is so much worth the reward. Human-to-human interaction is what we were created for, and I believe it's why we're here. I would say to anyone who might be listening, don't be afraid to make the change. Just close your eyes, take a step out there, and let God lead you. Pornography, it demeans women, and it demeans the person who is looking at it. It demeaned me. I demeaned myself. I hurt my dignity by putting my worth, by putting my effort, by putting my love and my attention into that. And so yes, if there is anyone who would be listening that's tired of it, and they know they want to step away, but they're afraid that they can't, I would first start out with confession. I did. And I didn't believe at the time that it would really help me. But it was one of the things that did. Confession, adoration, accountability with other men, especially with other men who are facing or who have faced that same problem. It's extremely edifying to be in the company of people who care about you and who know how bad that stuff can damage families. But yes, I could go on and on, but thank you for your show. Thank you for your ministry.
Well, God bless you, Danny. Thanks for being a part of it. It's the Take Two family who make this show what it is, and you're part of that, so we really are grateful. I just was thinking of a quote from John Paul II, and I looked it up. I'm sure it'll be familiar to you, Debbie, and many of our listeners. He says, there is no dignity when, this is about pornography, he says, there is no dignity when the human dimension is eliminated from the person. In short, the problem with pornography is not that it shows too much of the person, but it shows far too little of the person.
That's exactly right, yeah.
And you've got to kind of think about that statement for a minute. As he says, pornography shows not too much of the person, but it shows far too little. I think that's beautiful.
Right. Wow. Powerful call, Danny. Thank you so much for stepping up and sharing that with all of us today on Take Two. We're a family. We journey together, and we need to hear others and their experiences, because that's how we learn and grow. So thanks again, Danny. Have a blessed and holy Lent. Jerry, where are we going next?
I thought we'd get to a couple social media comments here, and then we'll go back to the phone shortly. Janet says she's watching the video stream on YouTube. Hi, Janet. We're waving at you. She says, yes, I have definitely lost more time than I meant to while being on the internet. I know that I need to change my habits, but still working on a limited amount of time. And Michael, also watching on YouTube, my biggest problem is not the internet, it's computer games. I can play for hours, though my arthritis often limits my time, whether I like it or not. Mm-hmm. And I love what you said, and we tried to highlight, Debbie, the internet is not intrinsically a bad or evil thing. It can be used for bad or evil purposes, but I'm just thinking of for example, the last several months, how many souls have been saved, through the internet, with masses being online and EWTN, the radio essentials and so forth. So it's got a potentially great purpose to it. So
absolutely, and let's continue to talk about it on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Mother Angelica, Scott Hahn, Father Wade Menezes. You'll hear the leading Catholic voices on the largest Catholic media network in the world. This is the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Are you able to stand tall, knowing God's purpose and plan for your life and living that out? Many people need a little assistance in getting to that point. That's why there's Stand Tall Life Coaching. Our growing team of certified coaches can assist you in dreaming big and living your best life. Learn more today and sign up for your free consultation at standtalltoday.com. That's standtalltoday.com.
This is a Messy Family Minute with Mike and Alicia Hernan. Lenten prayers with children look very different than a religious community or a couple praying by themselves. Kids make praying interesting, to say the least. Though celebrating Lent takes on a different character when you have children, it still can be a blessed and grace-filled season for all of you.
We'd like to encourage you to create an environment in your home that will teach your children just as effectively as any words you may say. This is one of the many joys of being Catholic. We have so many things that our children can see, smell, taste, and touch that communicate the pillars and truths of our faith.
Here are a few ideas. Purchase Stations of the Cross cards for your home and post them on the wall so you can walk the way of the cross in your home. On Fridays, eating a simple meal of beans and rice or bread and cheese is a great way to introduce children to the idea of fasting. Make an altar with a crucifix, a crown of thorns, and a purple cloth to remind children daily of this penitential season.
For more ideas on celebrating Lent, visit us at messyfamilyminute.org.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett. Later today on Catholic Answers Live, we've got 2 hours of open forum with Jimmy Aiken. Call with any question you've got. Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
This is your show. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And you and the show team, such a huge part of what we do every day on this show. Michael Birchfield is the producer. Jeff Burson is on the social media, monitoring those and getting your comments over to us. And Ryan Penny is screening your calls and affiliates. Thank you for carrying the program. We surely do appreciate that. Talking today about the internet, our usage of it, and sometimes we can just get distracted and we wander down what we call these rabbit trails, and pretty soon we don't know, may not even remember what we went on the internet for in the first place, or we look at the time that we've spent. So if that's happened to you, weigh in, because I think a lot of people will learn from what you have to say at 833-288-3986.
Okay, we're going back to the phones. Marilyn is up next in Corpus Christi, Texas. On YouTube, we're waving to you. Hi, Marilyn. Welcome.
Greetings, Jerry and Debbie. I just wanted to share a dear friend of mine went on her phone and asked Google for a well-known rent-a-car company's phone number. So she explained that everything came up, You could see cars, the names, everything was nothing to disturb her. She's done that before. So thinking that the Google is like 411 for information, getting phone numbers there, she called the 1-800 number and was greeted the name of the company and the representative, and she, it was a usual call, just like always. But the difference is she just Googled the number thinking, okay, I'll just Google it. I won't look it up on as she's done before. They gave her the rent-a-car. They told her that because of the holidays, there is a special promotion, but it's only with American Express. So she doesn't have that, but you could buy that at Walmart or your nearest Walgreens. What she did, she went in and got the money out of her account and did that and came back, and they even asked her for her phone number and called her and said, are you still interested? He's leaving at 5 o'clock. So she gave him all the information. She scratched off the little thing, and then they wanted her to take a picture of it. Well, that's where she kind of got, what's going on here? But it was too late because they ran all that. And she just thought that by asking Google for the phone number, as you would ask a 411 information, operator, it would be safe. Well, it wasn't safe. They did give her a confirmation on her phone, sent her a confirmation. She did finally call the right number. They told her, yes, you do have a car. It's for today, and it's in Don Knox, Virginia. Well, she doesn't live in Virginia. But long story short, you think that just by asking Google for a phone number, and it's somebody else. It's not, And she reached out to the company. They took her complaint, but then after that, they scolded her and didn't want her to call them again. So,
wow.
It was very sad, and it wasn't as much money as I've heard some people, but it was her savings, so it was very sad, and I didn't think by asking Google for a phone number this could happen. You just kind of trust. You're so trusting.
Well, we are. And before we say anything, I'm wondering about, the weather where you are, Maryland. Does everybody, have power? Are they safe? How are things going in the Corpus Christi area?
Well, power did come on. It was off and on, but now it's been on since last evening. I would like to say around 11:30 p.m., and it's still on. Thank you, Lord. It's been very difficult because it's been 3 days, or since Sunday night, Monday morning, and the water was finally shut off as well. But they kind of warned us about that, and we were able to get water for cooking and washing, hands and stuff. So it's kind of getting back to normal, but I hear there may be another storm coming. I don't see it. It's kind of a regular day right now. It's cold, but and I don't know who else may have power on. So that's the sad part, knowing that somewhere in your area or throughout the state, there's people that do not have power and they have little ones, and it's tough. It's very hard, And we were not able to go to Mass for Ash Wednesday either.
Yeah, well, we're praying a lot. We have listeners in Texas just like you, Marilyn, who email us off and on. Sometimes we love to hear from our listeners around the country, around the world, how they're doing, how things are going. And back to this, the topic of your call, the scammers have become so unbelievably savvy. It's amazing. I know certain times of the year, the pastor at my previous parish, he would actually preach on this, not the whole homily, but he would extend the last minute or two of his homily, because we had there's a lot of retirees in the area and older people, and unfortunately they are the ones who get preyed upon, and unfortunately they're sometimes the ones who want to, like you said, believe everything that they hear and the phone calls they get and so forth. What I do is I always look at the first few hits on my search. When I do a search, I don't always click on the first one. I kind of examine them. I look at them, and I scroll down a little bit until I see, okay, this one looks a little bit more legitimate, So anyway, that's just one thing that I do.
Well, and I just want to say, when I was talking about that news that news story that I heard about the seniors trying to sign up for the vaccines, and it's same type of scam. It's a similar thing, Marilyn, where they had them go and get these cards and everything, and they know the person. They've downloaded all this stuff on them already. And you made a comment, and I said this earlier in the show. We're very trusting, right? We want to go out there and trust what we encounter when we meet up with somebody, or customer service, or if somebody's helping us online or whatever. But there's nothing wrong with us saying, because we live in a day and age where there are so many scams, they have become so clever, how they do it. They even use the same logos and official information and area codes that kind of legitimize what they're trying to do and trying to, pull over all of us. There's nothing wrong with saying to the person, if you happen to get somebody on the phone after something's happened online, you can say, Marilyn, I'm sure you're a fine person and I'm sure you do represent the company, but I need to check this out. So I'll take your number. I'll call you back. And then, people have to understand that now. And I think that's a really polite way of backing away from a situation so you can do the necessary investigative research on this company or this organization so that you're not scammed like that poor lady was. I mean, and then you're right. Here's the interesting part about it. If you call the authorities, if you call the company, the original company, the valid company, okay, you're almost verbally punished, like, how stupid could you be? Didn't you realize that was a scam? I mean, it's so horrible. So we're in a pickle. We're in a difficult situation. Best thing to do is, if you don't know that person, you don't know the organization, it doesn't feel right, go with your instincts. Back off and tell them that you'll call them back, or, until you've done the necessary research to make sure it's legitimate. That's what I say. And there's nothing wrong with that. If people can't understand that, hey, you know what? So be it. We're in a day and age when we have to really do our, do the work, to make sure everything is okay. What do you think, Marilyn?
I believe that, and I appreciate you saying the area codes and the 1-800 numbers. It that's what really probably didn't give a clue. Probably that trust and thinking, I mean, you call numbers all the time, and you just think that it's okay because you asked Google. All she did was pick up her phone and said, Google, I need the number 2, and that popped up. But that was another thing that you did mention that I'll pass on if she's not listening, to just, I don't know, go up the line. I mean, you don't know who you're talking to, but that's right. If it sounds too good to be true, they've always told us that. Mm-hmm. It is.
It's true.
So unfortunately.
Yeah. And I just want to say something else too. You just said something that just sparked something. And I'm talking about when we go and report it, we shouldn't have to feel, silly or stupid that we were duped into this scam, because like Jerry said, they've become very savvy. They've become very clever on how they do it. And I actually reported a scam that was done to a friend of mine, and I was met with some resistance. They said to me, well, hadn't you heard about this scam? It was all over the news. And I'm like, sir, no, I haven't. Okay. I can't be everywhere and figure out every scam that's popping up. So I don't think we have to, apologize in any way, shape, or form if we are duped by this, because it's happening in a rapid rate and level. Wouldn't you say, Jerry?
I would, absolutely. And not just on the internet. Not to digress for a second here, but recently I got in the mail, it said, this is your, whatever the government is calling those checks that everybody's supposed to get, for stimulus or whatever. But it was a card, like a credit card. And it said, do this and this and this to get your money. And, oh, by the way, you can make purchases with this and all this. And I'm going, I just put that thing through the shredder immediately. I thought, I'm not even going to call the number and inquire about this. If I lost $1,200 in the process, so be it. Could have lost a whole lot more than that. I don't think I did, because I do think it was a scam. But anyway, Marilyn, thank you so much.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Great call on Take Two. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We need to hear that, though. And I feel bad for the seniors. I just have to say it again. Everybody knows how I feel about this. My mom is in her 80s. I love our senior population. If you're listening right now, please be careful when you pick up that phone or go on the internet, because it is just... it's dangerous, and they do tend to target seniors. They really do. I've seen it so many times. Jerry, where are we going next? We should do a show. Let's do a show on this.
Yeah,
again.
I made a note of that. Yeah, this is where we get show ideas. At 3 a.m, and while we're doing Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. So thanks again, Marilyn. Brian, hold on. You're right after Bernie in Tulsa. Bernie, listening on Alexa, and a first-time caller to Take Two. Hi, Bernie. Glad you can contribute to this program today. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. This is a wonderful program, and I think I have been an Internet user even way before the Internet itself became called the Internet. Way back when, in the 70s, it was called the well, and I used it primarily for legal research, things like that. But anyway, these calls have been wonderful. The one I'm most concerned about is recently I noticed there were a lot of charges to my debit card with my bank, and I hadn't made those charges. So I called the bank, told them about it, and they said, "Well, let's go ahead and check some of these out." So the banker stayed on the other line while I made calls to these parties, and I told them I didn't make. In fact, I didn't even remember making contact with these people. And when I say these people, I'm talking about different entities, maybe 4 or 5. And they said, "Well, we've got your credit card number. We know where you live." And that impressed me because I had recently, before this, applied for my renewal on my driver's license, which didn't show up in the mail. And I had to make a second request. So anyway, I found that some of these companies, when you go on the Internet, they will promise you a trial period of maybe a week or a month to use their particular app that might be the reason why you went. For example, I'm, with being locked in my home, I know I have to try and stay in shape, so I went on to a fitness app to get some exercise routines. And I realized, this one wasn't for me and whatnot. So I figured, okay, I'm within my 1 week or 30-day trial period. And I called them, said, "Hey, I want to back out of this." In fact, I sent them an email. But what I found out was they had continued charging my bank. And when I say this is a routine that so many of them do. So even though I'm talking about just this one company, I could multiply that by maybe 10 or 20 fold. So anyway, when I called my banker, and she said, "Well, let me stay on the line with you." So I went on and I called these people, told them, "Hey, I didn't do this, and my banker's on the other line." And immediately, they said, "Well, let's make this right for you, and we're gonna. How many charges did you have?" And I said, "Well, I've got some charges here that are monthly that extend out for almost 3 years." "Oh, we'll take care of that right away. And then, but this is one that people need to be aware of, that Apple Computer, of course, promotes some of these app developers on their app store. Well, I called Apple, And they said, well, now you realize Apple is not responsible for the charges of these companies or anything like that. And I said, well, I beg to differ with you because you give them a forum to promote their dishonesty. You also take and give them a forum to collect their fees. And I would say that you have a duty to your customers to police these people, to make sure that people like myself, and I'm freely admit I'm a senior, I'm 75, and getting close to 76. But anyway, that's where I would strongly suggest that seniors don't even use the internet to purchase things. Don't give your credit card information. Don't give your driver's license or whatever, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on an app. Just don't do it, because I'll give you another story, and this one happened a while ago. So that goes to your point about how long they've been doing this and how long they've had an opportunity to hone their methods. But about 6 or 7 years ago, I was working on a brief all weekend, and I had something for sale on eBay for about, I guess it was around $900. Mm-hmm. And I thought I'd go ahead and check to see how that was going. Well, I found out I couldn't get on to eBay, and I couldn't get on to PayPal, where the money was supposed to go once the sale was made. And I finally, after about 20 minutes searching, trying to get eBay's number, I did, and I spoke, and I said, I'm really worried about this. I'm putting in my password, my username, and I've been a strong user of this for such a long time. I'd like to know what's going on. So the lady says, now bear in mind, this was Central Time, and it was probably 3 a.m. when I had finished that brief on Sunday. And after about 15 minutes, she comes back on and she says, "Where are you in Russia?" And I said, "No, I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Come on." And she said, "Well, hold on." And she comes back and says, "Listen, you need to call PayPal right away, like right now." And the long and short of that was that some hacker or whatever you call these guys, I just call them a thief, had somehow tapped into my eBay account and had made a purchase from a guy in West Germany of 2 mobile phones.
Wow. Well, Bernie, we're going to have to jump in because we're going to run out of time, but you're saying some really incredible things that if our seniors are listening right now, we have a lot of seniors that listen to Take Two. Please listen to Bernie. This is so true. Bernie, you can navigate the internet. There are a lot of seniors. There's a lot of young people that have a difficult time getting through the internet. I agree with you. Stay off of it. Don't put your credit card on there. Or if you're going to do it, if you need to put your credit card or give credit card information, have somebody else there with you who is tech savvy, who can really understand things and be a second set of eyes for you. It's very important. Bernie, I agree. Same thing happened to my mom's debit card. She was enrolled in some subscription, not after using an app, but buying a supplement. Okay, she was prescribed a supplement. She got this supplement. She was enrolled in a subscription, and they were charging her $20 every month. I called the guy. I said, "We don't want this." He goes, "You don't? Then how come you signed up for it?" I said, "We didn't sign up for it, and you need to remove all the charges." They did. But that's another thing. You got to get bold and tell them if this is not something you ordered, they need to reverse it and make it right. We have to hold people accountable. This is getting ridiculous, and it's hurting people, and it's hurting our elderly. And you know how I feel about that, Jerry.
Sure. Well, Bernie, thank you so much. Great call. You were a first-time caller today, but you never will be again. But we hope that you will call the show again anytime in the future. We're going to get over to Brian in our last few minutes here in Binghamton, New York, listening on WHVM 91.9. Hi, Brian. Welcome.
Hello. Yeah, so I was just calling to follow up on, I believe it was Danny's call earlier. He was talking about, some of his issues and struggles and things and how he decided to drop the internet altogether. But I was just going to call about Covenant Eyes. I'm sure you've probably heard of it, but it's very excellent for combating that struggle and such. And they have outstanding A++ customer service. Every time I've called, they answer within like less than 5 minutes, and they're very, very thorough. They'll stay on the line with you for over half an hour if that's what it takes to answer all your questions thoroughly and such. And so they're an excellent resource for combating that type of struggle, which of course so many people struggle with today. So I just wanted to point that out for anybody else who's listening. Don't put it off. It's like they have filtering and things, and it's not just like accountability. They have actual blockers and such. So it's very effective in that battle.
Yeah, that's Covenant Eyes that Brian is talking about. You just put a .com on the end of that, covenanteyes.com. There was a time I tried putting a filter on my phone, not because I would go to porn sites, but because somehow they would just sort of find their way to me, with pop-ups and emails and stuff. So I was going to try and, deter some of that. And I find that, it is very effective, especially like you said, it's a filter. It is going to catch these things. Wives, if you've got a husband, a brother, somebody who has a problem with this, it's not just a male problem either for that matter, but look into some kind of a filter. There are things we can do, Debbie, to combat these things that they really, really, really want to drive us to and get us to get hooked on.
That's true. And Brian, we just want to thank you so much for bringing that to our attention again. Covenant Eyes, that is so good. And, folks, you are now stepping up with comments and calls coming in of how you handle what goes on the internet and maybe these scam situations. We're going to continue to revisit this. I think it's important, to raise awareness. Everybody listens to Catholic radio now. We're in Lent. In fact, a lot of people are giving up the internet to listen to Catholic radio during Lent, which is great. So let's use this opportunity so we can, give us the knowledge and the power that goes along with that, so we can take back control, which is something we need to do as Catholic Christians, I think.
Right. Thanks again, Brian, for the call. Great that you brought up Covenant Eyes for our listeners. Please check that out if you feel there's any need in your life or the life of someone that you know. We heard from Maria in Maryland, who says, hi, Jerry and Debbie. Actually, she says, hi, Debbie and Jerry.
Thank you.
And she says, in response to Danny's wonderful comments, I love to cook and always have. Before the internet, when I needed a recipe, many times I would call a friend for advice with a new recipe. We would chat for a while and get caught up. So fun. Now I, too, go to the internet. With the internet, I feel, has done much to truly isolate us from our friends and family. We text instead of call. We go to the internet for advice instead of going to friends or family for advice. Children are not learning to socially interact as they should, as they are on so many social platforms interacting. Nothing replaces person-to-person contact for our emotional and spiritual well-being. That's from Maria in Maryland. And she says, I love the show. Well, thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much. Did you read from our friend Helen? Do you want to read from Helen? Helen sent us a couple emails about Lent and Ash Wednesday, and then also about the scams that we're talking about.
We may have to,
okay,
let's see.
We'll have to get to it. Helen,
actually, we're gonna do a show on that. I've made a note of it, and I'm sure you have too. A show on scams.
We'll hold Helen's email. Helen, we love you. Thank you so much for sending us those emails. And thanks to all the Take Two family. You guys did a great job today. I think we learned a lot. We grew a little. That's a good thing. And so on the second day of Lent, continue your Lenten journey. What a wonderful liturgical season we are in to get deeper in our faith. Right, Jerry? What do we have for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow we have my brother John's birthday, and the next day we have his and his wife Anita's wedding anniversary. But tomorrow it's our urgent prayer show. Anything that's really pressing for you, you need God's help right away, call us up tomorrow. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. St. Joseph, pray for us.
Dr. Ray Gurendi, making a commitment to the wives. When the show's on, put the radio under your husband's pillow. The percentage of yes dears will rise.